Imagine a silent moment when the final breath quietly departs. It could be in a hospital room in Sedona, Arizona, where the red sunlight pours through the window, or in a warm, small home, surrounded by family, or even alone, in profound stillness. The body ceases to move, the heart stops beating, the breath, which came and went throughout life without permission, takes its final sigh. But do you know at that very moment something is still happening, something deep, invisible to physical eyes? The soul, the core of consciousness within you, begins its process of detachment. It is not abrupt, like turning off a switch. It is more like untying an old knot, intertwined with years of experiences, emotions, memories, and choices. This is when the soul, still fully conscious, leaves the physical body, like a traveler stepping out of a familiar house. Near-death experiences shed light on this moment. People who were declared clinically dead for a few minutes describe a sudden lightness, an unexpected peace, or a clear sensation of detaching from their body. Some see their own body below, lying in a Sedona room, as if floating near the ceiling. They hear voices around them but cannot respond. Consciousness remains alive, awake, but separated from the physical vessel. Spiritual traditions describe this separation as an energetic process, involving a silver cord, a connection between the physical and spiritual bodies. This cord gradually thins until it breaks, marking the definitive end of ties to the material world. But not every soul detaches easily. In sudden or traumatic deaths, a car accident on a Sedona street, a heart attack, the detachment can be confusing, even painful. The soul, in shock, may try to stay, not understanding why no one responds, why its cries go unheard. It is like waking from a vivid dream and realizing you are no longer in the same place. This moment is deeply profound. Imagine someone who lived their entire life believing death was the end, only to find themselves conscious, floating above their body, hearing weeping in a Sedona home, feeling vibrations but unable to interact. It is the beginning of a new cycle, but often without a map, without direction. For those spiritually prepared, this moment is one of acceptance. The soul senses what is happening. It feels the presence of guides, spiritual friends, beings of light who offer support. There is a gentle, almost maternal welcoming, a hand extended from the other side. Everything begins with the last breath. But the true end, contrary to what many think, is merely a new beginning. The soul is freed, but it carries all it has lived: joys, pains, lessons. It leaves the body but does not leave empty. Imagine waking in a familiar place, yet everything feels strange. Colors seem different. Sounds resonate from both inside and outside. You shout, try to touch loved ones, but nothing happens. It is like being present and invisible at once. For many souls, this is how the awakening in the subtle plane begins. Consciousness does not fade. On the contrary, it often becomes more lucid than ever. But the soul may not realize it has died, creating deep confusion. It notices something is different but cannot grasp what. This disorientation stems from carrying remnants of physical life, its thoughts, fears, memories. It tries to continue its routine, returning to a Sedona home, speaking to its children, completing unfinished tasks, but nothing responds. Doors do not open. Words are not heard. People do not react. This brings an intense feeling of isolation and anguish. In sudden deaths, accidents, heart attacks, the shock is so great that the soul may wander for days or weeks around its body or family, needing time to comprehend the new reality. Ram Dass, a renowned spiritual teacher, described this phase as waking from a long dream. In spiritual traditions, like those Dyer discussed, this period is critical. If the soul was too attached to material life, suffering, or unfinished missions, it may remain stuck in a lower plane, a state between worlds where it feels human emotions without a body to act on them. The emotions of the living matter greatly. If the soul lived with self-awareness, faith, or good deeds, it is often assisted quickly. Spiritual guides draw near, helping it transition. But if it lived disconnected from these ties, the process may be slower, more solitary. Even so, it is never abandoned. It may take longer to perceive the signs. In Sedona, where the desert's energy feels alive, some in their final days report seeing deceased loved ones. These visits, often dismissed as hallucinations, may be the soul's first connections to the subtle plane, a pre-awakening to the call from the other side. The soul often follows its body in the first hours after death, observing paramedics, family tears, or friends arriving in a Sedona home. All this adds to its confusion. It sees everything, feels everything, but is no longer part of the world as before. This break from reality is hard to accept. Earthly time ticks on, but on the other side, time takes a different form. In the first 7 days, the soul remains very close to the material world. It may linger in a Sedona room, watching doctors, or follow family to a memorial. It is no longer hurried, but carries an inner urgency to understand what happened and ensure its loved ones will be okay. Have you ever wondered what happens right after the soul leaves the body? In the first 7 days, it remains very close to our world, like a silent guest in the shadows. Imagine a soul, freshly parted from its familiar home in Sedona, Arizona, where the desert's red sunlight lingers on the walls. It wanders, watching loved ones, trying to touch them, but everything is now intangible. This is the 7-day phase, an energetic corridor where the soul still vibrates close to the physical plane. During these 7 days, the soul seeks familiar points of reference. It may stay in the Sedona room where its body once lay, watching family gather, hearing their whispers, or it hovers above cars heading to a memorial. Ram Dass, a renowned spiritual teacher, said the soul in this phase is like someone waking from a long dream, still carrying life's memories and emotions. It wants to ensure its loved ones are okay, but also needs to understand that its old life has ended. Memorial rituals carry greater meaning than we might think. In Sedona, where the air seems to hold a mystic energy, family gatherings, prayers, and stories told beside wreaths of flowers have power. For the living, these are chances to say goodbye, share memories, and comfort one another. For the soul, they are sacred moments. It stands there, invisible, feeling every tear, every smile mixed with longing, every word of gratitude. Each emotion from the living acts like a wave, gently pushing the soul toward brighter dimensions or holding it back. If you have ever felt a cool breeze or a gentle presence during a memorial in Sedona, where nature seems woven with spirituality, it may be the soul's sign. It sees photos placed on the casket, hears conversations, smells the flowers. All this helps it weave together the understanding that its earthly cycle has ended, a necessary step to move forward. But not all emotions help the soul progress. Desperate cries and denials I can't live without. You create energetic ties that confuse and delay its release. Dyer, who inspired millions with his spiritual teachings, stressed that true love is about freedom, sincere prayers, loving memories, and serene acceptance act like small torches, lighting the soul's path. Harsh grief and refusal to let go can keep it tethered to the dense plane of human emotions. These 7 days, according to many spiritual traditions, from Wayne Dyer's soul teachings to Tibetan Buddhism, form a special passage. The soul remains close to material reality. It is no longer in a rush, but feels an inner urgency to understand what has happened and to know its loved ones will be all right. In Sedona, where the earth and sky seem to intertwine, rituals like lighting incense, praying, or simply gathering to share stories hold great power. They help the soul realize its earthly journey has concluded and a new door is opening. What happens when these 7 days pass? If the soul accepts its death, feels supported, and understands its new state, its vibration rises, a portal described as a tunnel of light, a silver bridge, or a blue mist gate opens, inviting it to move forward. But the process is not mechanical. Some souls pass through this stage in hours, while others, overwhelmed by attachment, linger for months. Ram Dass said the 7 days are less a strict deadline and more an archetype, like the moon's phases or a musical scale's completion. Every prayer, every story told with gratitude, every moment you send love to the departed is like a gentle breeze, lifting the soul to more luminous realms. In Sedona, where nature seems to whisper spiritual lessons, this feels especially vivid. But wherever you are, remember how you live, love, and let go shapes a bridge between worlds. The soul's journey does not end here. After 7 days, as the first ties to the physical world dissolve, a new phase begins, the 40 days of farewell, where the soul confronts itself, its loves, and its lessons. Have you ever wondered what happens when the soul begins to drift from the physical plane after the first 7 days? When the energetic ties to its old life start to fade, the soul enters a quieter, profound stage, the 40 days of farewell. Imagine a deep journey where the soul, like a traveler, opens the book of its life, page by page, in the soft light of Sedona, Arizona, where the desert's energy feels steeped in spiritual calm. This is not a mere trip. It is when the soul faces itself what it lived, loved, and hurt. The 40-day phase holds special meaning. In many traditions, from Christianity to the spiritual teachings of Wayne Dyer and Tibetan Buddhism, the number 40 symbolizes transformation and transition. The soul is not judged externally by a figure with a gavel or scale. It undergoes an internal review, reliving its choices, feelings, and the intentions behind each action. Crucially, it feels what it caused in others. If it hurt someone, it re-experiences that moment from the perspective of the one who suffered. If it loved, it feels that love again, with all the emotion it stirred. This is a deeply impactful process. The soul revisits not just major actions, but small moments, a careless word, a kind gesture, a silent decision. Ram Dass, who inspired many with teachings on consciousness, said life is a chain of ripples, and after death we see how they spread. In these 40 days, the soul gains a profound understanding of its effects, not for judgment, but to learn. No one accuses or cheers. Instead, beings of light spiritual mentors join it, not to judge, but to guide. Picture a room of light in Sedona, where the soul is received. These mentors, like compassionate teachers, show paths it could have taken, explain why certain pains occurred, and help it learn from them. There is no changing the past, but much can be gained from it. This learning is the key to true detachment from guilt, resentment, and the ideals tying the soul to its past life. Wayne Dyer emphasized that forgiveness for oneself and others unlocks liberation. During these 40 days, the soul's ties to material bonds, home, objects, career, addictions, people begin to loosen. Letting go does not mean forgetting loved ones. On the contrary, The soul recognizes those bonds in their purest form, free from ego's illusions and petty grievances that often distort love on earth. But to move forward, release is necessary. Many souls struggle, seeing family in Sedona cling to them with inconsolable grief, trying to hold them through constant thoughts of pain or vows to never move on. The soul feels this, and though it is love, such attachment weighs like chains on someone who must walk. Dreams grow vivid in this period. In Sedona, where space seems to open spiritual gates, the soul may approach loved ones to give signs, messages, or a final look. These dreams feel real, emotional, and often are actual encounters, a way for the soul to close chapters, soothe hearts, and seek permission to depart. A lighter heart often follows such dreams. When the 40 days conclude, a final energetic release occurs. The soul, now lighter and more conscious of its journey, feels ready to enter subtler dimensions. It says goodbye to earth, but carries true bonds, loves that do not rely on physical presence, lessons, and the essence of who it was. In Sedona, where earth and sky blend, the living may feel this moment through subtle signs: a sudden scent, a specific song at an odd time, or a butterfly landing unexpectedly. These mark the soul's true departure. The soul's journey is not over. After these 40 days, a new stage begins, where it not only heals but learns, preparing for what lies ahead. Have you ever felt an invisible presence, as if someone is near, though unseen, after the 40 days of farewell, when the soul has lightened and reviewed its life in the gentle light of Sedona, Arizona? A new phase begins. This is when the connection between the soul and the living becomes profoundly clear. In the first few months after leaving the body, the soul senses the emotions of those left behind, like energetic waves echoing through space. In Sedona, where the earth and sky seem to blend in a spiritual symphony, these connections are especially strong. When you weep in longing or cry, "I can't live without you," those words are not mere sounds. They are energetic chains, pulling the soul back, hindering its journey. Dyer, who inspired millions through his spiritual teachings, said true love is freedom. When love turns into desperate attachment, it binds both the soul and the living in mutual suffering. Imagine the soul of a loved one, standing silently in a Sedona home. It sees your sorrow, hears your calls, and out of love, it lingers, trying to comfort you. But this can confuse it, delaying its path to brighter realms. Ram Dass, with his profound teachings on awareness, stressed that to love is to release. When the living transform pain into gratitude, share memories with a smile, or pray with serenity, they build a bridge of light, helping the soul ascend. The way you love, even after they are gone, shapes their journey. Signs emerge. Though the soul has left the physical world, it finds ways to return to Sedona, not to stay, but to send subtle messages. It may appear in a vivid dream, where you see them, feel their embrace, or hear words left unsaid. In Sedona, where the energy seems to open doors between realms, these dreams are so real that you wake believing they were here. Or it might be a small sign, a song playing unexpectedly on the radio, a familiar scent wafting through an empty room, or a butterfly landing when you need solace most. These moments are not mere chance. Sometimes the soul goes further. In Sedona, where spiritual energy vibrates, it may manifest as a fleeting silhouette or a glimmer of light. Those with sensitivity mediums or open-hearted individuals may perceive this more clearly. Dyer spoke of moments when he felt the presence of those who had passed, a reminder that love never vanishes, only transforms. In rare cases, the soul may intervene, like an invisible hand averting an accident or sparking a strong intuition to guide a choice. How can we foster these connections? In Sedona, where nature seems to whisper spiritual truths, the answer lies in openness. Keep your heart light, accept the cycle of life and death, and cultivate positive feelings. A heartfelt prayer, a memory shared with joy, or a simple thought of love creates a safe bridge between planes. Ram Dass said, "Do not wait obsessively for them. Love without demanding. The soul appears when the time is right, not on command, but when it will not harm them or those still here." Then a moment arrives when the soul faces a choice or an irresistible call. After months of loosening ties to the material world, spiritual portals open, inviting the freed consciousness to continue its journey. These portals are not physical places, but vibrational pathways. In Sedona, with its red mountains and vast skies, these portals seem almost tangible. Some souls are guided by spiritual beings, like old friends. Others feel an inner beacon, urging them forward. Yet some, bound by dense emotions like guilt, fear, or attachment, remain confused, unable to cross. Where do these portals lead? The destination is not fixed, but a reflection of what the soul built within itself. Dyer shared stories of spiritual colonies, organized cities with schools, hospitals, gardens, and study centers where souls heal, learn, and prepare for new experiences. Others enter subtler planes, where time flows differently, thoughts shape reality, and experiences are deeply symbolic. Souls weighed by unresolved emotions may linger in denser planes of confusion or suffering, not as punishment, but as a mirror of their inner state. Ram Dass called these reflections of the mind, not penalties, but opportunities for clarity. The soul's journey is a melody, and we, the living, are part of its harmony. The soul is never alone, but it needs our support to rise. As it crosses these portals, a new phase of deep healing and learning begins. Have you ever wondered what the soul does after crossing spiritual portals, as it leaves behind the ties to the physical world, moving beyond Sedona, Arizona's red roads? It enters a new space, a subtle realm, where time flows differently, and everything vibrates with light and meaning. This is not an end, but a new beginning, a phase of healing and learning, where the soul rediscovers itself in profound ways. Picture a space of light, soft as a Sedona dawn. The soul is welcomed into places described as schools, gardens, or quiet rooms filled with soothing energy. Dyer, who inspired through teachings on transformation, said death does not erase everything. The soul carries emotional wounds, regrets, traumas, unresolved burdens not of the body, but of the heart. In this subtle realm, it heals, step by step, like a weary traveler finding rest after a long journey. Healing here is unlike a Sedona hospital. There are no medicines or scalpels. Instead, the soul is enveloped in gentle energy, like soft touches from beings of light, spiritual guides filled with compassion. Some souls need rest, a deep sleep lasting days, weeks, or even months by earthly time. Ram Dass, known for his teachings on awareness, described this as surfacing from a deep dive, where the soul needs time to adjust, to regain balance after life's storms. Other souls require more. They receive energetic treatments, subtle vibrations like waves washing away invisible scars, or they engage in deep conversations with guides, where questions are answered not with words, but with profound understanding. Imagine a place where the soul is not only healed, but invited to look within, to grasp its true nature beyond names or roles from life. Healing leads to learning. In the subtle realm, learning is not like sitting in a Sedona classroom with books and chalkboards. It is a living process where the soul revisits life's moments with fresh clarity. It sees mistakes not to judge, but to understand. It learns universal laws, cause and effect, vibration, universal love. Wayne Dyer stressed that every experience, painful or joyful, is a lesson for growth. Here, the soul learns not only from itself, but from other souls, shared stories, and vibrational simulations that deepen its understanding of its impact. The most wondrous part, the soul begins to realize who it is, not a name, job, or nationality, but a spark of eternal consciousness. Ram Dass said, "You are not the body, not the mind, but the light within." In these spiritual schools, the soul finds that light, shedding the ego's layers and illusions that once obscured its essence. This is liberation, where the soul not only heals but grows, becoming a purer version of itself. The journey does not end here. Some souls choose to stay in the subtle realm, deepening their learning, aiding other transitioning souls, or becoming guides, bringing light where needed. In Sedona, where energy seems to connect to higher planes, stories speak of souls as protectors, quietly guiding the living through intuitions or dreams. Wayne Dyer shared feeling guided by unseen beings, a reminder we are never alone. Other souls prepare for a new journey, perhaps reincarnation, returning to the material world with fresh lessons and challenges. This is not a hasty choice. It is planned with care, alongside guides, selecting family, circumstances, and even meetings and partings to serve the soul's evolution. Ram Dass said each life is a work of art, crafted by our consciousness. The soul's journey is wondrous. It heals, learns, and finds deeper meaning in existence. We, the living, are part of this through how we love, forgive, and live consciously. The journey continues, and we will explore the final phase, 1 year after death, next. Have you ever felt time flow like a river, carrying memories and hopes? After navigating the initial shock, the 40 days of reflection, and months of healing in the subtle realm, the soul reaches a final milestone. In its first year after death, a year closes, a complete circle in Sedona, Arizona, where the desert sunlight seems to ignite the sky. This moment holds deep meaning, like a song ending with a lingering note, echoing forever. This is a story of the eternal connection between the soul and the living. After a year, the soul has traveled far from the disorientation of death, through dreams and signs in Sedona, to profound lessons in the subtle realm. Now it faces a final transition, a spiritual harvest of what was sown in life and during its passage. Wayne Dyer, who inspired through teachings on life's meaning, said every moment we live is a seed, and after death, we reap what was planted. A year later, the soul is lighter, more aware, ready for a new phase, perhaps a higher realm, a spiritual mission, or a carefully planned reincarnation. Yet, the soul never truly leaves us. In Sedona, where energy seems to open doors between worlds, it may return, not to stay, but to offer gentle touches. Have you ever heard a familiar song play just as you thought of someone, or felt a breeze carrying the scent of days gone by? Ram Dass, with teachings on eternal connection, said love is unbound by time or space. The soul may appear in dreams, vivid and real, sharing hugs or unspoken words, or it sends subtle signs, a butterfly landing, a star shining brightly in Sedona's sky. These moments remind us they are still here, in a different way. What role do we, the living, play? Every thought, emotion, and prayer is a thread of connection. When you recall a loved one with gratitude or share their story with a smile, you send waves of light, helping the soul rise. In Sedona, where nature blends with spirituality, these connections feel vivid, a sudden peace in the heart, a sense that they are okay. But wherever you are, remember